Welcome to the Authentic Dentist Podcast. Join Dr. Allison House of House Dental in Scottsdale and Shawn Zayas, founder of Zana, a company helping dentists extend their care beyond the chair as they lead dentists deeper along the journey of authenticity to reach greater fulfillment in their professional lives and to deliver remarkable patient experiences. At the core of the Authentic Dentist is a belief that the answer to the current challenges in dentistry is dentists discovering that their greatest asset and point of differentiation is their personal brand, and that forming that brand out of their authentic selves is the best strategy for success in dentistry today.
So this podcast is brought to you by Zana, and Zana makes electric toothbrushes, but it's more than that. They have a program that'll grow your practice with their electric toothbrushes.
Hey guys, this is Shawn and Allison with the Authentic Dentist Podcast. And this is a follow-up to our last podcast where we were talking about the life of kind of Tom Brady and just how he is such an inspiration, being such a great competitor. I mean, his ability to win and to still continue to win at a high level at age 43 in the game of football, of all things. It's just been amazing. But in this episode, what we're going to do is we're going to share not just about, because what we shared in the last episode was about how he first believed in himself and he bet on himself and he really cultivated that winning environment and culture within himself. But in this episode, we're going to talk about how he actually brought that winning culture to a team and how that's why they were able to win the Super Bowl this year.
So the parallel, of course, with dentistry is that you have to build yourself first, always. But then Tom Brady is this beautiful example of he walked into a franchise that didn't do very well and made it a winning team, and they took the Super Bowl. Incredible. How on earth did someone do that? How can you be that kind of a leader?
You know, and that's the thing. You know, you hear all the sports analysts, and they're like, you know what? Maybe we've been evaluating quarterbacks wrong. Maybe it's not just their ability to make that crazy play. Maybe it's not just their ability to make that one throw that no one can do. Because there's quarterbacks like Aaron Rodgers that can make unbelievable throws. He's been to one Super Bowl. Literally, he's been to one Super Bowl. There's this stat that shows he's been in the league 15 years. He's won one NFC championship game. Brady, first time in the NFC, 1 year in the NFC, won one NFC championship game. Aaron, 15 years, won. Brady, 1 year, won. Meaning it took him 1 year to get to the same accolade as what Aaron Rodgers had been doing for 15 years. So what's the difference? There's it's not just your ability to throw. It's your ability to influence your entire team.
Well, of course, because in business, it's never just you. It's never just about you. You have to have a winning team. And so you have to come in and be a true leader. How did Tom Brady do this? How did he inspire all these people to be more than they were before? And they wanted to be more. They weren't there because, oh, well, Tom's making me be here. I mean, they wanted this. Why?
Well, and just really quickly, just to back this up. So at the Super Bowl celebration, you have the head coach and you have the owner. And when they're given the mic, what did they say? They said, we knew we were a great team, but we didn't know how to win. And it just took one man to change all of that in our organization. They gave all the credit to Tom Brady as what he did is he brought a winning culture.
So what is a winning culture?
So for the longest time, there's been this idea of the Patriot way. And a lot of people are saying, well, maybe it wasn't the Patriot way. Maybe it's the Tom Brady way. Regardless, what it is that Tom Brady brought this belief. He got everyone to believe. The whole week leading up to the Super Bowl, he was texting people, all of his teammates, we're going to win this thing. And again, this is a franchise, the losingest franchise in sports history. Lots of talent. You know, they have players that had never even been to a playoff game. Never been to a playoff game. Meanwhile, you have Tom Brady. And there's a greater probability that Tom Brady in any given year is going to make the championship game than LeBron James is going to make a free throw. There's a greater probability. There's a greater probability that Tom Brady's going to make the Super Bowl than Steph Curry makes a 3-point shot. Like, this is the guy. So that's why, what did the owner said? He said, my father always said, if you want to get somewhere, you find someone that's been there before so they can show you the way. And that's why this franchise got Tom Brady. So what does that mean for dentists? Well, Tom Brady, the way he modeled this leadership was not only did he have that confidence and belief in himself, but he demonstrated the humility to be teachable. In team meetings, he's the most teachable person. When he's on the field, he's the one that is the most dialed in. He is serious. He is locked in. And that raises the intensity for the players. And the players even said it raised the accountability for the coaches. All of a sudden the coaches, like the people that had been there last year and then were also there this year, were like, man, like practices were different. Like the coaches all of a sudden feel like, oh man, we don't want to let Tom down. Because Tom is just bringing this intensity. Why? Because he believed. He absolutely believed. And
so he believed in the team, right?
Yeah.
That's a big piece. He believed in himself, but he also believed in the team. And it sounds like he encouraged them and he asked them to step up their game. That's a very difficult place to be, and yet that's the leadership that was needed.
So that's the great thing. So imagine Tom Brady is just as gifted as he is, but he wasn't the leader that he was. And imagine he embraced your leadership style, or in this scenario, I imagine if he embraced my leadership style this year. So just as gifted, still the accolades, he's just the same football player, but he's a different leader. Would he have been able to take his team to the Super Bowl and win based off of leading the way that I lead right now? Absolutely, 100% no. Just the other day, I came back just from a meeting the other day, and my dad asked, hey, how did that meeting go? And right off the bat, I was like, oh, it was probably one of the worst meetings. It couldn't have gone worse. And my colleague, Shawnee, was like, afterwards in private, it was really nice that she said she waited till we were alone. She's like, you can't say that to your team. Everyone is looking at you. All eyes are on you. And there was 3 or 4 things you could have said that were positive. Like where are we going? What do you believe about what we're going? Because that is the vibe. That is the energy. That is the message you need to be releasing. So I'm thinking, oh my God. So if Tom Brady was taking my leadership style and all of a sudden in the locker room at practice and people were like, hey, Tom, how do you think we're doing as a team? Well, we've got a lot of work to do. And, think about it. This was a COVID year. Like preseason was gone. They didn't have time to really get practice in. They got, I want to say arrested, but they got kicked out of a park because they were illegally practicing when you had to be in quarantine in Florida. They're trying to get chemistry going as a team. So he had all these reasons to be like, we're not on the same page right now. We're not really clicking. There's a lot of things going against us. And all those things would have been true.
They would have been true. No question.
It would have been him being honest. But it would not have been bringing positive morale. It wouldn't have been painting this picture of what he was convinced of. He wasn't going to let his present reality deter him of what he absolutely believed. He was convinced no matter what, they were going to get to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl. And that is what allowed the entire team to believe with him.
I can remember myself as a leader about 5 years ago, and I would look around my team and I'd be frustrated. Oh, that person isn't doing what they need to do. This isn't working. This negativity. And it sounds like Tom Brady didn't do that. He saw potential in everybody. And everybody stepped up their game for him instead of, yeah, this person sucks, they got to go. This person sucks, they got to go. If I only had a decent team, well, then I would win. Doesn't sound like that was his attitude at all. In fact, he picked a team that had never won a Super Bowl, ever.
Well, no, they had won one in the early 2000s, but they still were the losingest franchise. So even though they had that one good year, overall, if you look at their winning percentage, they had the lowest winning percentage of any team.
So it isn't so much about picking the best team, is it?
No. And that's the thing. So it's like so much of the way he leads is he takes personal responsibility. So it's not this blame game. Oh, my receivers weren't, or people weren't.
If everyone else around me was better, then I could have been better.
Right. So here he is. He has this belief in himself. He has this commitment, utter commitment to excellence and to putting in the work. So what is it? Everyone around him sees, oh, Tom not just believes, but Tom's willing to pay the price. So if he's willing to pay the price, well, like, yeah, I'll give my best because he's giving his best. And now when he's on the field on offense and he's like doing the best he can, if all of a sudden the team doesn't score a touchdown or doesn't get a field goal, the defense is like, well, we still want to give it our best and we want to stop the other team to give the ball back to Tom. Like, meaning they were inspired to give their best. So it's like for dentistry, here you are, dentist, and you feel like there's a lot of pressure on you. You got a lot of things to do. And now you're hearing about leadership and leadership lessons from Tom Brady. And it's like, we want you encouraged that, like, see where you want to go. Think about that practice of your dreams. Like, do whatever it takes. That's kind of what that first episode was about. To be at your best so that you believe. Because it doesn't help if you're showing up on Mondays and you don't know where the practice is going that week. You don't believe. You're beaten down. You're discouraged. So much of the private victories that Tom had that led to public victories was that's where he was winning. He was winning. He didn't have negative self-talk. He knew there was enough haters out there. There's enough people that were going to say, you can't do this. You can't, we don't believe in you. You're not good enough. That he was like, you know what? I'm betting on myself. I believe that I can do this, and I believe that the team around me, that we can be great together.
So he had a vision. He came in with a vision. He got everybody to buy in. Everyone was on board. And then he encouraged them, and they worked together. And I'm guessing that he gave everybody lots of responsibility to step up. Didn't you say he was texting everybody the night before?
Yeah, he's texting everybody every night leading up the whole week before the Super Bowl. We are going to win this. Like, yeah, maybe.
It wasn't, you're going to win this for me. It was,
oh, no.
We're going to win this.
Oh, yeah. It doesn't matter that the analysts are saying it's going to be a blowout and that, or if it's close, Kansas City's probably still going to win. Like, all the odds were, and, if you follow the money, Vegas was betting on the Chiefs. They weren't. There was an analyst that literally had 14 different bets. I mean, like the weirdest bets, but 14 different ones. All of them were wrong. And he's like, Tom Brady did it again. Like,
so you were trying to explain this to me earlier, and I was interested in, why is Michael Jordan a different leader? I mean, they won basketball games. They did really well. Why is that different?
Just in the sport of basketball, given the fact that there's just 5-on-5, if you're a great player, you play on both sides of the ball, your ability to exercise your will and your dominance on the outcome of the game it's just a stronger link. So if you're LeBron, if you were, Bill Russell in the past, you could take over the game and will your team to win it. So yeah, you're still a team, but your ability to influence the outcome is so much stronger than anybody on a 22-man football field. So to be able to win in what I would call the greatest team sport, which is football, that is where you absolutely need leadership. And that's why what we're saying is in dentistry, for you to get to where you want to be and to have that practice that you absolutely dream of, it's not about you being the Michael Jordan. It's not about you being the one-man show. And he was a really good one-man show.
Oh, he was amazing. Amazing. But I do think about that a lot of times we do in dentistry feel like, okay, I need to be Michael Jordan. It doesn't really matter who's around me. But dentistry is way more complex than that, because it's not just your hygienist and your assistant. You've got your suppliers, you've got your labs, you've got all these other things that are supporting you that you have got to lead. So it's not as simple as I'm going to be this superstar and there's 3 people around me that are just my minions. I think it is much more of a Tom Brady situation where you have all these different factors that you have got to lead.
There's this one clip, and it was actually really telling. I don't remember what week it was, but the Buccaneers, Tom Brady's team was up against another team. It might have even been the Chicago Bears. And they were really close in the game. And I think they were winning at one point. And then the outcome of the game is they ended up losing. And it's because on one drive, they got penalized 3 or 4 times consecutively, Tom Brady's team. And after that drive, you see him on the sideline. And you see what looked like to fans, Tom just flipping out. Oh my gosh, he's like, is he just throwing like a hissy fit? Because they'll take clips of other players, like Terrell Owens back in the day or Odell Beckham, where there's these kind of like prima donnas, and if they don't get something their way, they just make a stink and lots of drama. And then there's all this.
I know a few dentists like that. Go on.
And there's all this news coverage the next week or two about this outburst. But when they were looking at Tom, that's what I'm saying, from casual bystanders, like looking at it, you may not understand what was going on. Well, you know what happened when you look at the next 4 or 5 weeks. They went from the most penalized team in the beginning of the season to no penalties after that. Why? What happened is he talked to his linemen and he talked to his team, and it may not have looked pretty, and people might have been thinking, but guess what? They respected him. And he said, I've been not saying anything because I've been hoping this will self-correct, but you want to win? I came here to show you guys how to win. You want to win? We need to be better. And he called them out. And again, people just watching are like, oh my God, Tom's just kind of freaking out again. He only does it when he needs to do it. And the results were crazy. They became a disciplined team after that, overnight. Why? Because he had earned their respect.
So he didn't go in his office and close the door and yell and complain about his team. He went out there and told them that they needed to be accountable. Is that what I hear?
And in the sport of football, maybe it can be more animated. This is like men at war. That's so I.
Yeah, don't treat your female team like that. They don't like that.
Yeah, I'm not encouraging that.
But making people accountable, that's leadership.
Absolutely. And it was such a telling thing because in the Super Bowl, the Chiefs were undisciplined. They had so many penalties against them. And anyone watching the game, there was a lot of points that Tampa Bay scored because of that undisciplined nature. And they were undisciplined all year long, but they always somehow found a way to win, the Chiefs. So they thought, this isn't really going to catch up to us and hurt us. But what happened? They were going up against a team with Tom Brady as the leader that had already brought discipline to their team. So they weren't going to make mistakes. They weren't going to give you that same exact error that you could capitalize on. So if you make errors to them, they were going to make you pay. And they did. And that's why they won 33-9. That's why they blew them out. So it's like.
And to me, discipline means systems. It means consistency. It means not just running around like your hair's on fire.
And
thinking about what you're doing.
And it's we're in this together.
Yeah.
We are in this together. I lived so many of my years as an entrepreneur feeling like I couldn't trust my team.
Like you were alone.
Like I was alone.
And it doesn't work.
It doesn't work. I thought I had to be the Michael Jordan, and it was all about my greatness. And my greatness and the company's greatness is tied to the greatness of us, the togetherness, our team. And that is the absolute,
the united goal. But as we said in the last one, you have to build yourself first. So you can't come in and be wimpy. You have to be strong. You have to be confident. You have to be disciplined. But then you can't win it by yourself. It's just not a basketball game. That's just a unique situation. It's a football game. You need all these players to come together in order to win. And I think that's the way dentistry is. I think that's the way most businesses are. Sure, there's probably a real estate guy out there that's like basketball. But most of the time, yeah, it's a football game.
So our message to you is believe in yourself. Believe in your team. Carry that enthusiasm. Don't share about the things that you're stressed out about all the time, about the tens of things that could go wrong every single day. There's a time and a place for that, but carry the vision of why your practice is doing great things for your patients, why your practice is transforming your community, your neighborhood, why your dentistry is great. Because if you don't believe it, your team is not going to believe it. And another thing is Allison and I, we believe in you. We're betting on you. We're betting on the fact that you are resilient, you are strong, and you found that out coming out of this pandemic. You're stronger than you thought you were.
Everybody bet against us. Think about that for a minute. I mean, all the DSOs were out there for like thinking that they were going to just decimate dentistry. And the single practice, the group practice, we didn't give up. We're strong. This year's going to be a good year. We just got to be good leaders.
Thank you for listening to the Authentic Dentist Podcast. To join Allison and Shawn on this journey, hit the subscribe button to never miss an episode. Here's to your success. Express yourself fully. Live authentic.